Guys, I'm going to tell you a story that a lot of dog trainers run into. You probably run into this yourselves if you train dogs, if you work with clients. If you haven't, or if you're kind of new at it, you're going to run into something very similar to this, and that is running into weird family situations. They could range from a weird relative, the weird child, to an abusive husband. And that is the one that I'm going to be talking about a little bit. So I had one particular client that I remember that was made things very awkward for me. I was doing the private lesson. It was a private lesson. That was a husky, and we were working with something not unusual, something very typical that you would find with a lot of clients. But the thing that stuck with me the most was not so much the dog. It was how disrespectful this guy was to his wife. He was very, very disrespectful. And the type of person that I would not ever associate with. Type of person that if I met somewhere, I would just steer away from him. Now, he's my client, and like the client he is, the person that I'm working with, I'm gonna treat him with the utmost respect. Even if I don't like you, I'm still gonna treat you with respect. Even if I really, look down on your attitude, whatever, I'm still gonna treat you with respect. So that was the deal with this guy. He was very nice to me, but he was kind of a jackass to his wife. I remember doing the private lesson. His wife would say something, and he would just automatically raise his voice and just take over. Even though the question was for both of them, as you already know, as you may or may not know, when you do a private lesson, you want to have as many members of the family as possible. All right, so if you got a family of 5 people, 2 husband, wife, and 3 kids, ideally you have all of them. But I'm talking to both of them, and this guy was just being very, very rude. I remember him just stopping and just looking at his wife and going, "No, just stop. You don't know what you're talking about." Everything's very, very awkward, very weird. And then he will the next second he will look at me and smile and go, "Oh yeah, anyways." So yeah, very weird, very awkward, and very kind of difficult to kind of keep a straight face. And I'm there to work with the dog and work with them, help them out. One of the reasons that we do this is not just because we want to help the dogs. Yes, that's priority number one, but we are primarily there to help people. This is a service industry for the people that we're working with, not so much the dogs. That's kind of secondary, right? It's primary. Yes, we're working with the dogs. That's our primary skill set, but the dog is not signing the paycheck. It is the family ultimately who we are helping. So this was awkward, like I said before, and the best way to deal with that, the best way that I dealt with that was I just redirected and brought everything right back on the dog, the topic at hand. It's very easy to just sit there and stare and go, "Oh my God, they're just yelling at each other," or "He's yelling at her." And I remember thinking about that, but I was like, okay, so anyways, let's talk about the dog real quick. And I remember asking her questions too. But yeah, very awkward. Guy was kind of weird. And then I think 2 weeks, maybe a few weeks later, I run into her at the library, and I remember her venting, talking about her husband. Awkward for sure. Another case that I remember was a little bit awkward, but not as bad as this one, was when the boyfriend or husband, he wasn't as rude as this first couple, this first family, but he was kind of very macho as well. He was, taking over the conversation. When his girlfriend or wife would start talking, he would get right in there, take over, and then start talking. And I would do what I always do, which is make eye contact on both of them. And that's one thing that you want to do. If you're talking to a couple, you want to talk to both of them. It's very easy if you got the boyfriend, the girlfriend, And let's say, you know, maybe you feel more connected to one or the other. Maybe you feel more connected to the girl or to the guy. You don't want to just talk to the guy because it makes the girl, it makes the other member of the family feel left out. So what you want to do is you want to maintain eye contact with both of them. You want to talk to both of them. You want to ask questions to both of them. Otherwise, it just makes the other person feel left out. The other person feels left out. They're not part of the training program. If they're not part of the training program, then consistency is not there. So it all just kind of, you know, it all kind of connects to eventually the dog. So yeah, awkward situation. I'm going to tell you more cases, some more interesting ones. I'm sure you guys have tons of them too. If you work with dogs, if you work with people, you have clients on a regular basis, I know you've got to have some interesting stories. So if you've got any really, really cool ones, let me know. Just, you know, post a comment, send me a message, and maybe we can do a video about that. Thank you.